Hey guys, it's Miss Bet Beast. Welcome to third grade reading. Super excited today to have you back, and we are going to be starting something new today that we will be focusing on for the next, really through the end of our sessions. We only have a few left. So I'm excited, and I think that you're going to have fun today. So today we are going to be scooping up some sequence, okay? Who's heard of that term sequence before? Okay, oftentimes it's used when we talk about sequencing events, right? So you've heard that a lot in reading. Well, that's just what we're going to be focusing on today. And it's something that's a review for you guys. I wanted to start out pretty basic, and our goal is to be able to take a text, whether it is an article or a book, and be able to sequence the events of the story to make connections to whatever's happening. And eventually we're going to connect it to even more informational pieces over the course of the next few sessions. And we are going to focus on historical events, and we're going to focus on scientific ideas and just really make those connections. But we want to be able to explain sequence using good terminology and understanding what that means. So today we're going to start real basic. We're going to read an informational text, and it's going to be a fun one, but we are going to really focus on just taking the events and the process and putting it in the order that it happens from the first to the last, okay? So just to kind of remind you, there are some signal words for sequence that we might look for as we are reading a text and looking for the sequence. Sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes in a process it will tell you first, next, then last, or use first, second, third, fourth, and so on to list out steps. Sometimes, however, it's not as obvious, and that's okay too. So if it's not as obvious, you just look at, well, what's the order that the events happen? And you're doing that all the time anyway as you're reading. Good readers do that to help them comprehend and understand what they're reading. So there's always a sequence going on in a book or a piece of text that you're reading. Okay, so are you guys ready to see what we're doing today? Okay, I'm excited. So today we are going to read a book called From Milk to Ice Cream. Who likes ice cream? I do. Okay, so hopefully you do too, and we are going to read aloud this book. It's an informational text that gives us information about how ice cream is made, how it goes through the process from milk to ice cream. So as I'm reading, look for that sequence, and then we are going to make some ice cream. We're actually going to follow a sequence of events and make some ice cream today. Can you believe it? All right, well, let's get started so we don't run out of time. Okay. A farmer milks cows. Ice cream starts as milk. A farmer uses a machine to milk cows. Then milk flows through tubes to a tank. The tank cools the milk. Trucks take the cold milk to an ice cream factory. Okay, so I like the structure of this book and the way it's set up. It has in bold the main step to the process, and then it gives you more detailed information below. So you'll notice that as we go. The milk becomes mix. Well, what does that mean? Let's see what they mean. Factory workers put the milk into a vat. Okay, the vat looks like a huge cooking pot. Workers stir in sugar to make the milk sweet. Together, milk and sugar make ice cream mix. So here are those vats. Here are those really big cooking pots that they're mixing the sugar and the milk in, because they have to produce this on a large scale. It can't be small when you're making something that you're going to distribute to places to sell. The mix is heated. Ice cream mix must get hot before it gets cold. Heating the mix kills germs. Germs can make people sick. A machine heats up the mix to make it safe to eat. Then the mix is cooled. A worker adds flavors. Pipes carry the mix to a new vat. A worker adds flavors to make the mix taste good. This worker is making pineapple ice cream. So he's mixing in a pineapple flavoring to the ice cream. This is how we get all of our different flavors. Someone at a factory mixes it in to the different vats so that we can get different flavors. The mix is stirred. A blade stirs the flavors into the mix. Chocolate turns the mix brown, like chocolate milk. Strawberry turns it pink. You've seen that at school in your milk, haven't you? The mix gets cold. More pipes carry the mix to a freezer. This machine makes the mix colder and colder. The mix turns into soft ice cream. Blades inside the freezer stir the ice cream. The blades stir in air to make the ice cream fluffy. So that's where the fluff in our ice cream comes from. It's the air that's being mixed into it. They don't just straight freeze it, they have to mix that air in. Ice cream fills buckets. Empty buckets or boxes move toward another machine. The machine squirts ice cream into them. The machine in this picture can squirt chocolate and vanilla ice cream at the same time. Can you see it right there? Pretty cool. The ice cream gets colder. The ice cream is still soft. It must freeze more to get harder. A worker puts the buckets into a very cold room. The room is so cold that a polar bear could live in it. Wow, that's really cold. That's probably colder than our freezer. Trucks take the ice cream. Workers load the ice cream into trucks. Each truck has a freezer to keep the ice cream cold. The trucks take the ice cream to the stores. There it is. They're starting to distribute it. They've produced it, now they're going to distribute it. Time for dessert. The ice cream is ready to eat at last. How many scoops would you like? I like 2. All right, and then we just have some basic text features in the back. We've got our glossary and our index. So this is just an informational piece that has a process that we go through. So we followed and we saw a lot of steps through a process that they provided in this book. Did you see that? Okay, good. So now we are going to review those, okay? So we're going to review what were those steps to the process. So on each of our ice cream cones, we are going to take and we are going to kind of put everything together and sequence the events of what we read here from milk to ice cream. So what was the first thing? Let's think back. What was the first thing that we had to do in order to make ice cream? Well, first they said what? The farmers had to what? Milk the cows. Very first process. We've got to get the milk going. Okay? So that would be the first thing that we did. Okay? So we've got those signal words there to help us as we begin. All right? What was next? What happened after the farmer milked the cows? Well, then they started talking about how the milk becomes a mix. They put sugar in, they mixed it together, and then there were a couple of other things too that started to happen. They had to heat the mix and all of that. So the milk is made into a mix of milk and sugar, and then it's heated. Okay, did you know they actually heat up ice cream? It kind of makes sense. It allows the sugar to mix really well in with the milk so that you get all that sweet flavor. All right, now after it's heated, what happened? Well, there were several things. Now, if you want a flavor, you've got to add flavor. So we could add vanilla, you can add chocolate, you can add strawberry. They added pineapple. So there's tons of flavors. You know, if you've ever been to the ice cream aisle, I mean, my goodness, it's endless possibilities, right? So they add all that in. And then something else that we found interesting was they started to stir the mixture and they started to freeze it, but it was still soft, right? And then they started mixing it more with air to create a fluff in the ice cream. So we thought that was interesting. All right, at least I did. I hope you did too. Okay, so the third thing that happened is flavors added and the mixture is stirred while beginning to be frozen to make it fluffy. Okay, so after it gets all fluffy and everything's mixed up, now it's ready to be what? Frozen, right? So now it goes into that really, really cold freezer where polar bears could even live. It's so cold. So that's the fourth thing that happens, okay? So the ice cream buckets are filled and it is frozen. They get it ready to sell, all right? And then the very last step, the fifth step, is that trucks take the ice cream to the store so that we can then buy it and eat it, right? That's our favorite part of the process, okay? So now we are going to look at this piece right here, it's really a recipe, okay? It is kind of written a little more like an article. It's got a little more length to it. So we're going to read through it quickly, and then we're going to follow those steps, and we are going to make our own ice cream, okay? So my apron says confectioner, because someone who makes ice cream or sweet treats or candy, they are considered a confectioner. So I put that on here so that you could learn what that is called. Okay, so how to make ice cream. Do you love ice cream? Did you know that you can make your own ice cream at home? Okay, so some of you have probably done this with a machine. I'm going to show you an even simpler way where you can make your own ice cream, and you could even do this at your house today. I'm so excited. It is so easy to do. All you need are a few supplies, and you are ready to go. First, you will need to get all of your supplies and ingredients, okay? And if you look on the table, I've got all of our ingredients and supplies laid out. You need half and half, vanilla, sugar, rock salt, ice cubes, and 2 zipper closed bags. 1 large bag and 1 smaller bag. Next, you will get your ice ready for making ice cream. It says fill the large zipper bag full of ice cubes. Then add the rock salt. Take this bag and set it aside. You will need it again soon. Now it's time to mix up your ingredients. Open the small zipper bag. It may help to ask someone to hold it for you, because if you're pouring liquid in, that can get hard sometimes. Pour the half and half sugar and vanilla into the bag. Close the bag very carefully and check and make sure that there's no leaks. After you've checked for leaks, the fun begins. Place the small bag inside the bag with ice cubes. Close the bag and begin to shake it. You will need to shake the bag for several minutes. Make it more fun by taking turns with a friend or gently passing it back and forth. After about 5 minutes, you want to check your ice cream bag. If it's frozen, then you're done, okay? If it's not, I've done this before, you just keep shaking it, okay? It will get there. Finally, it is time to enjoy your ice cream. Take the small bag out of the bag of ice. Clean the bag and make sure you get all of the salt off before opening it. Put your ice cream in a bowl and add all the toppings that you like and enjoy it. Ice cream is a fun treat on a hot day. Now you know how to make your own yummy treat. And then down here are our ingredients, here are our supplies, and we know the process to take to create our own ice cream in a bag. So are you ready? If we look at it, it says ingredients. We need a half a cup of half and half. We need a half a teaspoon of vanilla. We need 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then we need our 1 gallon size zipper closed bag, the 1 sandwich size zipper bag, ice cubes, and a half cup of rock salt. Okay, so we get to use the half cup measuring cup twice, and then we get to use 1/2 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon to create our ice cream. Okay, are y'all ready? I'm ready. Okay, so I have here a bag filled, or as full as I could get it, with ice. Okay, and then I have all of our other ingredients laid out, because if we look back in our text, that was the first thing they told us to do. We need to get all of our ingredients together. So we've got to follow these steps. If we don't follow the steps, do you think that we're going to be successful in making our ice cream? Probably not. And that's why sequence is so important. You have to follow the steps in the order they happen, so that whatever it is that you're trying to create or to make, that it will come out the way that you want it to. Okay, so first it told us to get all of our ingredients out. What does it tell us to do next? Well, next it says, get your ice ready. So we've got to get our ice ready. Well, I have our bag ready, and then we need to add our rock salt to it. Okay, well, here is our rock salt, okay, and I have already poured it into a half cup because I didn't know how much time we would have. So this is my half cup measuring cup, and I just filled it with rock salt, okay, and I'm going to add it to my bag, okay. So I'm just going to dump it in, okay, and then I'll close it up, okay, and set it over here to the side for right now, okay? Because it says just to set it aside, we're going to come back and we're going to need that shortly, okay? Then it says, now it's time to mix up your ingredients. Okay, well, if we look over here, our ingredients were a half cup of half and half, a half teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay, well, I need to reuse my half cup, so what I did is I just brought a napkin to wipe it out. If you're at home, you could use water, because do we want salt in our ice cream? No, not unless you like a salted caramel or something like that. It's going to take away from your sweetness. So we need a half a cup of half and half. So I'm going to fill this up with half and half. All right, so there that is. Okay, now I've already got my tablespoon of sugar filled, and I'm going to go ahead and do my half of teaspoon of my vanilla. Oops, Debbie's kind of shaking it. Okay, are y'all ready? So now we're gonna mix it all up. We're gonna put it in our bag, okay? So here is our half and half. Okay, notice I put it in the bag before I dumped it. That helps you to keep from spilling it, okay? And then sugar. That's the best part. Okay, and then the vanilla. Oh, goodness. So what kind of ice cream are we going to have? What's our flavoring going to be, everybody? Vanilla, right? That's the flavoring that we put in. Okay, so now we're going to take our bag. We want to make sure we don't have any leaks, so you want to make sure it's sealed up really, really, really good. And then let's mix it together good, because we want our sugar not to be all in one spot. We want it to be mixed up. Okay, and now we are going to take it, and it said after we make sure that there are no leaks, it says that we can place the small bag inside the bag with the ice cubes, and then we'll close it up. All right, so I'm going to kind of smush it down in there so that the ice cubes are all around it, and our rock salt that we added in. Okay. Now, I'm really missing my class today, because this next part is where we take this bag and we shake it. And so normally I pass this around the room and we shake, 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 because it told us we needed to shake it for several minutes, and it said to check after about 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys, and I'm going to shake while I talk, and hopefully you can still hear me while we do that, okay? So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about what we've been reading here, okay? And so if we look over here at the text, I've got a couple questions for you. So you might have to look back to see what we're getting here. So what were the things that we put into the large zipper bag, everybody? What were those things that we put into this large zipper bag? Ice, and what else? There's some other main ingredients besides just ice. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah, it was called rock salt. So that's not the same as regular salt. It is called rock salt, and it's a little bit different, okay? All right, next, how long did it tell us that we need to shake this bag for? It said a good what? Several minutes, right? And they said go ahead and check it after 5. Now, I should remember this from doing this previously, but your hands get really cold when you're shaking it, okay? So if your hands start to get really cold, you can just wrap a paper towel around it, and it helps you. This is why the class comes in super handy, because then you can just pass it to the next person when your hands get too cold, all right? So, like I said, it did tell us several minutes, but then it kind of specified later and said, check it after 5, okay? All right, so next, what does it tell us is the last thing that we want to do before we actually eat our ice cream? Well, if we look back in the text, it says, finally, it's time to enjoy your ice cream. Well, if it's time to enjoy our ice cream, then it's ready, right? So what does it tell us that we can do? Well, it tells us to go ahead and get the bag out. It tells us to clean it off. But the very last thing it tells us to do before we eat it is to put it in a bowl and add our toppings. So if you like toppings on your ice cream, like cherries or whipped cream or chocolate syrup, you can add those things, okay? All right, now the last thing that I want to ask you is, why do you think that we should check the bag to make sure that there are no leaks in it? Why would we do that? Now, this is a thinking about what makes sense kind of question and drawing a conclusion about what would be the best thing. Well, if you think about it, guys, doesn't it make sense that if we had a leak, what would be happening right now in this bag? What would be all in it? the ice cream mix, right? If it wasn't closed up good, it's gonna spill all in the ice. And are we gonna have any ice cream to eat? Nope, we won't have it. Okay, so, gotta be getting close to somewhere around 5 minutes. Miss Betty's hand is about frozen. All right, so I can already show you this. We do need to do it a little bit longer, but if you look at it, you can already tell it's not a pure liquid anymore, okay? It's that soft, frozen state, okay? So I'm put it back in there. I'm gonna shake for another few minutes, and then we will see what we've got. Now, we'll tell you this one, ice cream in a bag. Now, if you shake it for a really, really long time, it may make it really, really hard. But remember that process that it had to go through? It had to go to the factory and get air whisked in it in order for it to get real fluffy. So this isn't going to be a real fluffy ice cream. This ice cream is going to be a little softer, a little less hard than you're used to. So that's something that the kids in class would ask when we make it. And if you've ever made homemade ice cream, then you kind of know that about homemade ice cream. It's just a little different than what you have. Okay, shake, 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 shake. Then it's going to be time for us to try it, okay? So we're getting close to time, so we're going to go ahead and try what we have here. So this is so cool. Do y'all see that? We made ice cream, okay? So cool. All right, so if we look inside of this bag here, you can see it's more frozen consistency, okay? And so now I can take a bite and try it. So if we were in class, I'd give everybody a bite. It's so good. It's vanilla ice cream. It's so good. And now we have a treat to enjoy. So you guys can follow this same process at your house and follow this same sequence of events, and you can make your own ice cream and have a nice, sweet treat. So on Thursday, we'll be back and have a fun book that I'm going to read to you guys that I think you're going to really like, and we're going to connect it to scientific ideas. But this isn't your typical scientific idea. It's going to really relate and connect with you guys. So I hope that you'll join me Thursday, and remember to practice reading throughout the rest of the week and really notice the sequence of events and the order that the things happen in your story. All right, bye guys.